We've got the first rates coming up on our screens. You've got 22,490, 22,500 nearly. Sensex at about 73,940. So these are the very first rates. 60 points is what the Nifty is up by. Bank Nifty is up about 0.4%. You've got the mid-cap index, which is just marginally higher, nothing much at all. And you've got the small-cap index, which is starting, I think, a little higher as well, but not by very much. So it's a good start, about 22, just under 22,500 is what we have right now. So that's a start, but lots and lots and lots of stocks, and let's get this rolling. Sonia has got those. Sonia.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much to talk about this morning, right? So I want to start with the large caps. There's ICICI Bank that is pretty much topping the charts at the moment, up almost 0.6%. Good set of numbers. Earnings beat street estimates. Healthy deposit growth of 20%, loan growth of 16%. So that's one stock that's looking pretty good. On the flip side, though, you'd want to watch out for HCL Tech. Look at that. Almost a 4% knockdown is what HCL Tech is seeing this morning, and that's largely because of the guidance that was cut by the company, right? This time, a guidance of just 3 to 5% versus CNBC TV18's poll of 5 to 7%. So the street not liking that. The next stock I'm looking at is Maruti. It's up about 0.6%. As we were saying, although the margins are below street estimates, we won't be surprised to see the dips getting bought because largely the overall trend is still positive in terms of earnings. But this time around, there were some one-offs. The gross margins were under pressure as well. So that was a little bit of a disappointment over there. Shriram Finance, that one, the net interest margins are at a 2-year high. So Shriram Finance is the next stock that I'm looking at this morning. It'll come up for you on your screen in just a bit. 2% higher on that stock. Volumes are also picking up. L&T Finance is the other one. The disbursement growth has been pretty healthy for L&T Finance, so that one should also come up in a bit for you. 1% higher now, tracking higher both on volume and on price action. Now, Tech Mahindra, you just saw that stock 3.5% higher. There's a big, or 2.5% higher rather. There's a big double upgrade coming in from Morgan Stanley. They've upgraded it to an overweight. They have a target price of 14.90, which is a big upside to the current market price. Remember, this is a stock that rallied substantially last week as well. So, onwards and upwards for Tech Mahindra this morning. Apart from that, SBI Card, the revolver rate has improved for the first time in 8 quarters, but there are some misses in the numbers as well. So SBI Card is now down about 2.5%. Interglobe Aviation is another one I'm looking at. Nimesh was just telling us a while back that Morgan Stanley has raised their target price on Interglobe Aviation to 46.15, which is well above the current market price, and that's something that the street definitely likes. Now, we have a lot of earnings this week as well. You have Exide, Siad, Dabur that will all be coming out with their earnings. But the stock of the moment undoubtedly is BSE. Just look at the crack on BSE this morning. It's a 17% fall that we're seeing on BSE. It's the biggest single day drop since listing of the stock, and definitely not going down well with the street. So that is the big accident of the day, BSE. But apart from that, it's really not a bad opening for the market. The Nifty now up almost 65 points. Back to you guys.
All right. Thanks a lot for that, Sonia. Well, Apollo Hospitals, they've announced that long-awaited deal. The street has found it too complex, and I think the promoter entity getting merged into this set of business, I think the street doesn't like that at all. And also the guidance that they've given the street is doubting that, in terms of how this merged entity will scale up. We'll have the management who will clarify all that and more. But for the time being, the stock is down 4.5%. The other two stocks that are highlighted earlier today, one is BSE on the downside because of the regulatory changes, and they'll have to pay more. So, post the direction coming in from SEBI. So that stock is down 17%. It's the biggest loser in terms of volumes as well. One of the biggest gainers, though, from the FNO pack is AU Small Finance Bank. The rules that are coming out and the guidelines that are giving in from RBI, they've perfectly fit the bill with regard to transforming or moving from a small finance bank to a universal bank, and that's why that stock for the time being is up 3%. Keep in mind that it won't happen very, very quickly, but at least they're ticking all the boxes out there. So that one, in fact, is up and about. IDFC First Bank, Abhishek told us those numbers weren't great. So that explains why that stock is down close to around 4%, approximately 3.5% now. We'll have the management in a short while from now. SBI Life, those numbers look quite good, and that stock, in fact, is one of the big gainers actually on the Nifty itself in today's trading session, up 2.5%. Metal stocks, well, some of them, they're opened up in the green. You had Vedanta that was trading in the green. For the time, you can still up close to around 1%. And you have Hindustan Copper as well, up close to 100%. So a decent start, Prashant, to kickstart trade. Just throw in there one more stock, Craftsman Auto. The stock is down 5%. I think it came out with a set of numbers. That one is taking it on the chin as we speak, down 5%. Prashant.
All right. So that's a good start, right? 70 points higher, 22,500 is where we are at right now. Just a few other names, right? Not so you've got Yes Bank top of the list, the biggest volume-led gainer, of course, 6.5 higher. But look at IRNA, 8% higher, huge volumes. Hudco, Nimesh had that stock on his chatter list on Friday, or was it Thursday, but 5% again. Hudco had a 10% plus move that day. Ircon is up 5.5%. So these, PSU names are coming up with some gusto. Supreme Industries reported numbers, and Supreme is up a big 7%. I mean, huge volumes for this point in the day on Supreme Industries. Transformers and Rectifiers is back to winning ways. It's up 5%, 660 on that one. New India Assurance is coming up with huge volumes, 5.5 higher on New India Assurance. Jaiprakash Associates, I'm not sure if there's any news, but 6%, and it's got volumes to back it this morning. There is Techno Electric. Techno Electric has done very well last 1 week, from I think 900 kind of levels, actually 800 levels 2 weeks back. It's at about 1,000 rupees plus. So that is Techno Electric for you. We've got IIFL Securities, which is up 6%. I can go down the list, but volumes will then start to fade a little bit. But that's essentially the bulk of what is moving up with large volumes. MCX started with a small cut, but I think MCX also is starting to sell off a little bit more. So that is down about 2% plus right now. That's a 100 rupee cut coming through there. So that is the overall picture. Has SBI card moved down, or is it something with my price? If you can just...
It's still up about 2.5%.
Okay, it's still up.
2.5%.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So 7... SBI card will come. It's down.
It's down. SBI is
it's moved
because of the credit cost staying elevated at 7%.
It's down 2%. So it's a big sort of move from the highs of the day for SBI card. The high was about 743. And it's lost about 10, 12 bucks from there.
I just want to mention one thing on BSE, right? That stock is now down almost 20%, so don't lose sight of that. Jefferies put out a note where they've downgraded the stock, and they said that the higher fees, because of the, the company has been asked to pay its regulatory fees to SEBI, that higher fees could hit the overall EPS by 15 to 18%. So that's the kind of cut that we are expecting to see on BSE.